Here's your wrestling news for January 13th, 2021. And your headlines for today include Goldberg to break 22-year record? When will live fans return to WWE? Chaos backstage at Raw. Who got kicked off the show? Former US champion to leave soon. WWE star blasts AEW star, "He stole my move." Former superstar tells all about Money in the Bank cash-in. Triple H's next opponent confirmed. WWE Hall of Famer is back full-time. What's planned? SmackDown superstar lashes out at WWE executives. Mick Foley reveals long-term side effects of COVID, and more. We're kicking off today with Bill Goldberg, who could become a record breaker if he wins Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble. On Legends Night, Goldberg returned to WWE to confront McIntyre following the latter's successful title defense against Keith Lee, and the match between the two has been made official. If Goldberg does win the WWE title at the Rumble, he'll break a 22-year-old record held by Vince McMahon, as he'll become the oldest WWE champion in history at 54 years and 35 days. The current record, held by the chairman, is 54 years and 21 days when the babyface boss defeated then WWF champion Triple H on the September 16, 1999 edition of SmackDown, thanks to a big assist by Stone Cold Steve Austin. Of course, McIntyre's recent positive test means he's currently out of action, but the champion is still scheduled to defend his title at the Rumble. If there's a silver lining to this, it's that this latest outbreak hasn't affected the top matches for the Royal Rumble, as McIntyre does have time to make a full recovery, and has continued to build up for the WWE Championship match on TV and social media. On Instagram, WWE posted a photo of Goldberg as WWE Champion, gauging the fans' reactions, which, unsurprisingly, wasn't too positive. Almost all of the comments are against the idea of Goldberg winning the WWE title, and McIntyre himself reacted, saying he's just there for the comments. The belief is that a short match will end with McIntyre retaining the title, though fans expected this when The Fiend faced Goldberg for the Universal title last year, and we all saw how that went. It's not out of the realm of possibility to think that Goldberg will add the WWE Championship to his trophy case, and could make history as the oldest WWE champion in the process. Speaking of the Royal Rumble, it was previously reported that WWE was adamant on having live fans for the January tradition, but now plans have changed. That's according to WrestleVotes, who reported that WWE sees the notion of taking down the Thunderdome set to allow fans for the Rumble as too much effort, especially as they'd be putting it back up immediately after the show for Raw. They said, "The fact of the matter is WWE views the stress, manpower, and complete undertaking of removing the Thunderdome for one night as just too much to make it all work. Sad but true. The wait continues." Though WWE would rather have live fans back full-time, the Thunderdome does allow the company complete control of their show, meaning they can control what chants are heard and which ones aren't. This power may be too great for Vince McMahon to give up anytime soon, and while live fans will return to WWE events one day, it won't be at the 2021 Royal Rumble. Raw news next, as the company had to change their plans this week due to Drew McIntyre testing positive, but his match with Randy Orton wasn't the only plan the company decided to scrap. According to Fightful, this week's Raw went through several revisions during the day of the show, the biggest of which being McIntyre being replaced by Triple H, who faced the Viper in a brawl to close out the show. It's unclear what other segments were planned, though it's worth noting that Raw Women's Champion Asuka, Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, Nikki Cross, Humberto Carrillo, and Ricochet were all backstage, but weren't used. Given the tight restrictions about non-essential travel that are in place at the moment, it's highly likely that these 6 superstars were brought in because they had plans to be on Raw, which were changed only after they arrived at the Thunderdome. There's been no reports about any of these superstars being injured, so we can only imagine that Raw had its usual brand of chaos behind the scenes, with plenty of plans changing mere moments before the show went on the air. We mentioned how Ricochet was backstage for Raw but wasn't used, but according to new reports, fans may have to get used to not seeing him in a WWE ring for the considerable future. It's been previously reported that Ricochet's contract is ticking down, and when WrestleVotes reported in September 2020 that one superstar chose not to re-sign with WWE, it was rumored that this mystery person who was planning to leave was the one and only himself. Although Ricochet tried to shut that rumor down, it's persisted since then, and during Wrestling Observer Live, Bryan Alvarez brought up Ricochet's booking and mentioned Ricochet's contract and the belief he is yet to sign a new deal. Time is running out for the former United States champion, who reportedly signed a 3-year deal in 2018, meaning his deal is up sometime this year unless he's inked a new contract. WWE's strategy about re-signing stars has also changed, as they were previously in talent hoard mode, offering lucrative, high-dollar, long-term contracts to stop people going to AEW or any other promotions, but now that's no longer the case. Ricochet had a ton of fans behind him when he joined NXT, and when he received his main roster call-up from NXT, but after a messy time on the main roster, he may not be around for much longer. Retribution news now, as T-Bar is arguably better known for his social media barbs than his actions in the ring, and now AEW's Sammy Guevara is his target. On social media, T-Bar called out a, quote, little teenage virgin on AEW that stole his finisher 4 years ago when they did a show together. And given that Guevara and Dominik Dijakovic crossed paths on the indies in the past, fans believe he's speaking about the Spanish god. T-Bar even suggested taking something from Guevara's moveset, but said that it's all just Ricochet's moves anyway. And in a reply, Mace told him to chill. This reaction from his Retribution brother was far calmer than Dax Harwood, who called T-Bar an idiot and said he's lucky to be back in the wrestling business at all. As for Guevara, he also took fire at T-Bar, claiming the move belongs to a wrestler called Matt DeMorest, who he claims T-Bar stole it from, and said that he's using it because T-Bar is doing nothing but sitting in catering on Monday nights. Mustafa Ali recently brought up that Retribution was snubbed for the Legends on last week's Raw, and we'll have to see if T-Bar busts out the move he claims was stolen the next time he's in the ring. We are looking back at New Year's Revolution 2006, a night which saw John Cena retain his WWE title inside the Elimination Chamber, only to be the first victim of the Money in the Bank cash-in by Edge. The cash-in was a shock to everyone, even those who had been in the chamber match, and in an interview with SK Wrestling's Inside Scoop with Dr. Chris Featherstone, Chris Masters spoke about his reaction after being in the chamber match and how they weren't told that Edge would be appearing. He said, "When I did that Elimination Chamber match where Cena had won, they didn't tell Carlito or me that Edge was coming out and cashing in right after that. We had no idea. We were just as surprised as everybody, we really were. Carly is second generation, so he had a hunch because he knew something was weird about the finish that didn't make sense to him, but he didn't know that it was going to be Edge cashing in." This match was Masters' first and only Elimination Chamber match, and Shawn Michaels, Kane, and Kurt Angle had all been eliminated before the finish, which saw Masters and lastly Carlito eliminated in a successful title defense for Cena. The finish of the match saw Carlito double-cross Masters by eliminating him before Cena rolled him up to retain the title, but it was ultimately Edge who had the last laugh on that cold January night. Two men who know all about the Elimination Chamber are Triple H and Randy Orton, who collided on this week's Raw in an impromptu brawl. Their match was cut short by the return of Alexa Bliss, who threw a fireball in the Viper's face, and although Orton will have to deal with Bliss and The Fiend, he has unfinished business with the game. On WWE.com, a poll is asking whether fans want to see Triple H get another opportunity to humble Randy Orton, and the vast majority of those who have voted do want to see another collision between the two. This week's match on Raw was the first time since a June 29, 2019 live event in Japan that fans have gotten to see the game in action, and was reportedly booked to match up against the College Football Championship game. It's unclear at this time whether a rematch will happen, but if WWE wants to listen to the fans polled, expect another collision in the future. From 2 Evolution members to 1 more, as Ric Flair was on Raw this week and helped Lacey Evans defeat his own daughter, Charlotte Flair. Fans should expect to see plenty more of the dirtiest player in the game, as on Wrestling Observer Radio, it was reported that Flair is back as a regular character on the show. This week's heel turn came just 7 days after he helped Evans beat Charlotte last week, but acted like it was just an accident at the time. Their report didn't indicate how long Flair's return will last or where WWE is going with this storyline, but for now, fans can expect plenty more of the 2-time WWE Hall of Famer. Lacey Evans is certainly pleased to see the Nature Boy back, even though her budding romance with Rick has drawn the ire of Charlotte. On Twitter, the sassy Southern Belle poked the bear more, as she tweeted that she's looking into some new reading material with a picture of a book for stepmothers. Evans even signed off on her tweet with the hashtag #MamaFlair, as it looks like she's ready to take things with Rick to the next level. We previously reported that WWE was allegedly looking at having more romance angles, though we certainly didn't see this coming. And time will tell how Charlotte reacts to her would-be future stepmom. SmackDown next, as Sami Zayn has had his fair share of on-screen issues with WWE management lately, especially after his Intercontinental title loss to Big E. On Twitter, Zayn announced his newest plan to make a documentary about what he's calling a conspiracy by WWE against him and a coordinated effort to oust him as Intercontinental Champion. When Zayn asked the fans for their own evidence of this alleged conspiracy, fans mentioned WWE having his most fierce rival, Kevin Owens, debut the night he became NXT Champion, with one fan asking, what did they think was going to happen? Fans also questioned WWE allowing Brock Lesnar to enter the 2019 Money in the Bank match when Sami got attacked, and we'll have to see if Zayn's documentary ever makes it to screens, or if this secret conspiracy gets to it first. And we're ending today with news from Mick Foley, who recently revealed that he tested positive over the holiday period. In the video announcing his positive test, the hardcore legend said he believes he tested positive after a virtual fan signing event where he shared a room with 2 other people, as one person in the room started suffering from symptoms that same night. Now, Foley has given an update on his health following questions from fans and explained some of the long-term side effects he's currently dealing with, saying, "All in all, not too bad, but I get fatigued very easily and my head still feels a little cloudy." The WWE Hall of Famer once again encouraged everyone to do what they can to help out, including wearing masks, social distancing, and not making any unnecessary travel. Hopefully, things will get back to normal at some point this year, and whilst we're always pleased to hear that someone who tested positive has recovered, it's clear that the effects of a positive test can stay with a person long after they're given a clean bill of health.